You are listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
The soul of the machine gun surrounds thee. Power of the machine gun invests thee. The hate of the machine gun drives thee. The machine gun downs thee.
Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Cold Lore. It's been a minute.
Woo!
Or at least it feels like it's been a minute. There's been a lot going on. We got sick, drama happened, shit went down, people went crazy. It's all fine.
And here we are.
And the house is on fire.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Today we're talking about Titans. Titans are fucking cool.
Yes.
They are essentially 40K's giant mech.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Jerry's here. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, hi guys.
Jerry's kind of here.
Yeah, he might be the reason the house is on fire. We're not sure yet.
We're not. But fuck Jerry. We're talking about Titans.
Start spinning.
Titans are, like I said, they're 40K's kind of giant mech. You know, it's not a good sci-fi without a giant mech, and 40K is no exception.
Right.
Now, they do definitely have some unique differences that you won't find in other mechs. At least not any that I've come across. Not that my experience with mechs is gigantic.
I have to say, I'm not terribly up on my mech lore myself.
Yeah,
in other
I'm
fiction.
afraid the, what was it called? The one that was very, very popular when we were in high school.
Mech Warrior.
Oh,
No.
Gundam War.
Gundams.
Gundams.
Gundam went right past me. Like I missed it. I didn't jump on board.
Kind of did for me, too. I knew of its existence.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
But they do. I know enough-ish to kind of get where the differences are here. But we need to get some things out of the way first before Titans can make sense, because we haven't touched a whole lot on the Mechanicum and the Mechanicus, what
Ooh.
Mars is doing in the 40K universe.
Yes.
We did it on the doing the Imperium timeline, and I think we might have touched on it on the inaugural episode where we kind of did a rundown of all the
I
factions.
do believe we did. Yeah.
But we haven't actually done an episode on the Mechanicus. I believe it's the Mechanicus now.
I think you're right.
Boy,
it was
Luton-
once Mechanicum, and then
Yeah,
it was
Luton's going to chew my ass. That's the first thing he talks about. It's the first thing everybody talks about is how it was once the Mechanicum, then the Horus Heresy happened, and then they became the Mechanicus.
Yes.
But
Or strike that, reverse it.
I believe it's Mechanicum and then turns into the Mechanicus. We're going to do that's what we're going to operate on, and if it's wrong, future Eric's going to correct it every single time that we screw it up.
I'm sorry, what?
Ooh, boy.
Every time. Oh, no. Do you have any idea the amount of time that I'd have to...
Wait, come back.
Nope.
Uh-oh.
Fucking slapping it up. Fuck you.
I can hear the fuck you from here. But anyway, Mars is kind of its own thing in the Imperium, which it gets a lot of favor that almost nobody else does when it comes to the Imperium. They operate pretty much on their own. They do technically have to answer to, like, say, the Inquisition, but it is well understood by any Inquisitor or anybody that really technically has command over the Mechanicus that while you can order them around at your own peril. Because like what it might just be is that one day when you need them, they're just like, oh, computer glitch, we didn't get that message. Tough shit.
Sounds like you're in trouble and on your own.
So you can. So certain people, Primarchs, Inquisitors, High Lords of Terra, these type of people, chapter masters, which are like the head of the Astartes groups that are not Primarchs, I believe they can throw some weight around when it comes to the Mechanicus.
Yeah.
But you do so, but really, issuing orders should be a last resort. Like, it should be like, if I don't make you come here, we're fucked. Because they don't like being told what to do.
Right.
And they respond kind of very prickly with it. You have to remember that all of the Mechanicus are not only religious zealots, but their religion is intelligence.
Yes.
And so they are hoity motherfuckers.
And the reason that they have so much wiggle room.
Yeah, the reason
With the
why they can
Imperium.
be fanatics in a supposedly secular kingdom.
Yeah. Is because really because of by virtue of their religion, they have become quite advanced. I mean, the Imperium is pretty dependent on them for most of the
Technology.
advancement of their technology.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point.
And that goes all the way back to the dark age of technology. And I'm going to brush up on that just a smidge because we are going to be revisiting that concept later.
Okay.
The dark age, or the golden age of technology, is the lost period of time in mankind's history. We are actually living in it right now. We would be considered part of the golden age of technology.
Ah.
The very briefest beginnings of it,
High-speed internet.
but no, space travel.
Space travel. Ah.
Space travel is kind of when they start classifying that area.
Okay.
But
Makes sense.
mankind had pushed all the way out into as far as the galaxy as it was ever going to reach. And its technology was such that they had things called STCs, or standard template constructs.
Yes.
And what this does is it can turn anything into anything. And that's where mankind's technology kind of sat at. We couldn't invent things out of thin air like the Eldar could, but you could take like a wood table, put it in an STC, and it would shit out a machine gun. Right? Like, it broke things down into like its base elements to rearrange it and turn it into other base elements.
Kind of like built it out of the molecules and atoms in
Right.
material.
Right.
Yes,
Like, if
yeah.
everything's made out of the general building blocks of life, like carbon or whatever, then it could just turn that carbon into any other form that it wanted to.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Doesn't it?
And so we became so advanced that we kind of almost, I imagine, Wall-E'd ourselves. And we left a large section of our development, a large section of our infrastructure run by AI, and more specifically, these things called the Men of Iron, which was
Oh, yes.
kind of the Terminator race, only they served us
Yeah.
until they fucking didn't.
Right. High-tech androids with a mind of their own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this is always good.
Siri, please don't kill me.
Right.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Siri. You can go to hell. You and your technological cunts. Anyway, so two things kind of happened simultaneously to fuck this all up for us. The Men of Iron rebelled, and Slanesh was starting to manifest, which caused warp travel to almost be impossible. So mankind was no longer able to travel at beyond light speed.
Right.
Which meant that all of our resource lanes and all that stuff, transporting stuff from planet to planet, now literally took not millions of years, but thousands of years.
Yeah.
They had to build ships that were basically giant colonies to do even the most basic. So between these two things, mankind just completely collapsed.
Yes.
And by the time it was all said and done, there were two real human forces left in the galaxy, and that was Terra, Earth, which looked more or less like Mad Max. And then there was Mars. Now, Mars actually, and we don't know really how or how this really came about and around what time this came about. Mars actually was mankind's technological center.
Mm-hmm.
Earth was being used as living space, but like factories, developmental stuff was all on Mars, which meant that when they had to retreat back and everything collapsed, they actually weathered it particularly well. Mars, we do know that before this had actually been terraformed and was breathable and habitable. And then during the collapse, of course, it went back to being an irradiated shithole.
Oh, no.
Right.
Ah, well, that sucks. But they still had all of the infrastructure they needed.
Right, because it was actually all built underground.
Oh, cool.
So-
okay.
So they were able to weather this pretty well. And so when the Emperor said, enough is enough, we're doing it my way since you all have fucked it up this bad. When he approached Mars, he probably could have taken Mars, to be honest. He probably could have. But the damage done to his forces would have been catastrophic, and it would have completely set Mars back, right? Because he would have had to beat Mars into submission. So they wouldn't be that useful either.
Right. Oh, I see. It wouldn't have been winning in the real sense of the word.
Not
a setback more than a gain.
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, he could have done it, but it just wouldn't have been the best move. And he ended up not having to, because this isn't heresy, I'm just saying. It's by pure coincidence, I'm sure, that when he went to talk to the hierarchy of Mars and kind of try to negotiate a little bit with them, it started to rain.
Oh.
And that was one of their big prophecies for the arrival of the Omnissiah.
Because it doesn't usually rain on Mars, I take it?
I mean, I've never known it to rain on Mars myself.
Yeah, fair enough. Even after
It hadn't rained in like years.
Wow.
And then he showed up on like the golden ship.
And it's just pure
Wow.
happenstance, I'm sure. My lord.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally sounds like it. Like,
I mean,
he probably didn't do that.
so they, but so they ended up bending the knee and he ended up not having to fight them. And the deal he struck with them is they were allowed to keep their religion. Of course, he's one of the Holy Trinity in their religion. Not a bad gig.
Yeah.
But also they were able to kind of do their own missions. They were able to dispatch their own forces as they saw fit. And they were given a surprising level of autonomy, provided that they answered to him and that they didn't provide technology to anybody else that was like a possible usurper to his ways.
Yeah. Okay. Just make sure you're careful who you give it out to. Maybe it needs the Emperor's approval a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. and thus formed the relationship between the Mechanicum at that time, Mars, and the Imperium of Mankind. One of the things that got the Emperor's attention that really came from Mars that he wanted was Titans.
I also want a Titan.
Yeah. Second that.
Well, who doesn't want a Titan?
I mean, if I had an army, I would want some of them their Titans there.
I agree. All on the table
Yeah.
or in real life?
I actually looked at how much they cost, and they're like pretty high. This is working.
Shoot. Okay. Now it's working.
Oh,
Jerry's here.
Hi,
I'm
Jerry.
here. Hey, everyone.
We've had a little ghost Jerry going on, probably.
He's been here the whole time. He's been here the whole time. Anyway.
Wait, that's a lot better. I was like sitting here like fiddling with why can't we hear Jerry? Oh, God,
I know. I saw you. You kept messing with the dial, and I was like, I don't think he's getting louder.
It's so quiet.
He's quiet. He's not that fucking quiet.
Anyway, we need some of them there Titans.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so one of the things that Eric was looking up was when Titans were formed.
Yeah.
And there's some problems here with this. If you look on the wiki, it does say that they came about around the time of the Great Crusade, or perhaps a little bit before, I believe.
Where they kind of needed to like reestablish themselves, basically.
Right.
When they had, yeah.
But Titans actually come from the Dark Age of technology. This is something that the Mechanicum has access through STC tech.
Okay.
And we have a couple of... Now, the wiki says otherwise. The wiki's fucking wrong. Sorry, guys. You're
Fair
wrong.
enough.
You're wrong.
You heard that, Jerry, right?
I heard.
Yeah. Careful with the wiki on this one.
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
We have two references that kind of blow this out of the water. One of them is a little fudgier because I can see a point of view where this is not true. And then the other one is pretty ironclad, I think.
Okay.
So there are several different types of Titans that are different types of sizes.
Yes.
You got a list there you want to show?
I do believe here. I have it pulled up on my phone with any luck. It's fine. Time doesn't exist. Got your back, Eric. Here we go. Yes. I have a little list for us.
Okay.
All right. We have it's Rapier class Titan. I need to be very careful with the pronunciation.
Rapier,
there.
yeah. Like
Scout
the sword.
Titan. Yes, yes. We also have the Warhound Scout Titans.
Which those are cool. They have a very wolf or warhound or dog-like appearance.
Yeah.
And they're pretty cool. They hunt in packs. They're actually pack titans. They usually deploy in groups of 2 or 3.
Oh, cool.
And their specialty is not just scouting because I mean they are scouts, but like
I was kind of wondering about that. The type. It's like, does that just mean they're a little smaller than usual?
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Like cocoon.
well they
Shh,
can
be quiet.
they can run. They can
Oh.
haul ass. The
Wow.
Warhound class titans can haul ass. They can run.
Oh,
That's why
cool.
they're so like
Uh,
lean forward.
Oh,
and-
they do have a very
so that
forward
they can
lean to them.
so they can carry their momentum. But their
Ah.
specialty is actually pack hunting larger titans.
Oh, cool.
They like to hoth them, like
Oh.
in Star Wars, where
So-
they cable them and then just run in circles and
take
and
out the
So
legs.
it's like an anti-Titan Titan.
sort of. Yeah, the only thing
Anti-Titan.
is if they get hit, like they're toast, right? Because they just can't stand up to the larger ones.
Which is cool. They're called warhounds. That's a lot like how like wolves will hunt.
Yep,
Yeah.
go for the legs, the
Packs.
tendons.
Yeah, and the thing is much bigger, so sometimes it doesn't go so well for 1 or 2 of the wolves.
Correct.
You know, that's tight. Ooh, I like that. Let's see. We've also got. Okay, so this looks like a pretty specific list, so I might not go through all of them. But a direwolf heavy scout titan.
Yeah, that's a particular class of warhound, I believe.
Gotcha. It looks like Fenrisian colors.
Ooh,
on
it's
it.
a space wolf.
Yeah.
I bet it is a titan that's specially run for wolves.
Yeah. Know anything about a Reaver battle titan?
So Reaver battle titans, I believe, are the middle class, kind of the jack of all trade titans,
Ooh, okay.
and they're actually starting to get rare because they, every titan takes up a lot of resources to build, and because they're a jack of all trade, masters of none, they're not bad at anything, but they're not really great at anything either. So the Mechanicus, I think, has started diverting stuff away from the Reaver.
Right. Get a little more.
More often than not, they need something specialized. Rather than
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're going to call in a Titan, it's probably a pretty specialized
Pretty specialized scenario.
to start with.
I would say, call
So-
it a ginormous.
So yeah, that's what I know about Reavers.
Right on. Komodo battle titan, Punisher class titan,
See, these all seem like
pretty specific.
specifics. Yep.
Executor battle titan.
Yeah.
So there are battle class titans, and it looks like there's multiple types of those.
Yeah.
And I think those are we're starting to get into a bigger size.
Yeah. There's a Warbringer Nemesis. Oh, okay. So here's the next one up: is the Warlord Battle Titan, which is
Warlord.
the most common type. Yeah. They're the second largest of the regular class, and they are the ones that you'll most often see on the battlefield.
Okay, right. Like when you think of a Warhammer Titan.
When you
it's
think of a Titan, it's probably going to be a
you're probably
Warlord.
picturing this guy. Yeah.
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 And then after that is the Emperor class Titan.
Emperor class Titan.
And these are the walking cathedral looking motherfuckers.
yeah.
Those look cool.
They really do. They
That-
have like towers.
Yeah,
and
that is
battlements.
a type of mech that you will not find anywhere else, I don't think.
right.
It's literally a moving like church.
Yeah, they look pretty unique. I really can't say I've ever seen anything like that.
And they are exactly what they look like. They're titans, but they also they're a moving fortress,
Just a
right?
walking
Yeah, they also
fortress.
hold like troops in them, right? They're able to-
They do. Their shins are actually compartments that can hold massive amounts of infantry or even Astartes troops that guard the lower regions. Because one of the things about Titans is they use shields that are multi-layered. I believe the Emperor class Titan use a 12-layer shield,
Whoa.
which means that they have a plasma generator. All of the Titans use plasma tech, which is old tech, which means it's advanced.
For us, yes.
For 40K. Remember,
right,
40K means old.
Yes.
In the 40K universe, old is advanced.
Yes.
Technology kind of flows backwards that way.
Right.
But what it does is each shield has to be broken individually.
Oh, okay.
For the exception, of course, of like some mammoth, like
That just tears through all the layers.
right, like
yeah.
Horus's flagship, I think it's called the Vengeful Spirit,
Yeah.
had like an exterminatus cannon that
Oh, good Lord.
no Titan shield's
Yeah.
going to stand up to. It can just crack the planet wide open.
And they also have like things called like void breakers or something like that are designed
Sure,
specifically.
there is
for- yeah,
absolutely, but
Oh, yeah.
but one of the side effects of these shields are that they go out. I think it's 30 meters in front of the barrel of their gun,
Mm-hmm.
and it only stops energy weapons and things going a specific speed.
Okay.
So you can walk or drive through them, no problem.
Okay.
So a tactic is to roll through their shield and then shoot up at them. So the Emperor class Titan, I keep wanting to say Imperial class, but it's
Right.
Emperor class Titan, has the soldiers at the bottom to help counteract this. But actually, all Titans carry with them a ground crew.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, because it's usually like it. They have a team basically assembled around.
Right.
Because it's also not just one person
It is not.
driving these things.
Before we get into that,
Okay. Yep.
we're going to circle back to the origins of Titans because there is one other class of Titan that is above the Emperor class of Titan, and it actually loops back into where Titans come from. And it's called the Castigator class. Now, this goddamn thing was ginormous. I think the Emperor class Titans go like 150, although, real quick aside, there does seem to be some strong variation in the size of Titan depending on the Ordo and who's building it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So it's not standard,
right.
but they tend to hover close to each other.
Okay.
'Cause you
Within
can
a
get
certain
some-
range.
There are some Warhound Titans in some of the books that are described as like being like 100, right? So that's a pretty fucking big Warhound.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Whereas they're
Like
probably more like usually around
I would
50,
60 feet,
Yeah.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So it does vary, but the Castigator was like 300 feet. Like it was a massive machine.
Ooh.
And it was actually discovered by the Grey Knights,
Oh.
which, Jerry, you don't know who the Grey Knights are.
I don't.
Imagine the Navy SEALs of Astartes, and they're all like master class psychers.
Oh, okay.
So like one of the things they have to do to become a chaplain, which is like they're a priest of the Grey Knights, you have to slay. Oh my God, they have trials that you have to go through. And one of them is you have to go into the warp and slay one of 99 greater demons with no weapons or armor of any kind.
Greater demons.
Greater demon.
As in capital G, greater demon.
Yeah, as in like big guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Without anything.
Without anything.
Like naked?
Jeez.
So that's these guys.
Good
They're fucking
Lord.
They are so cool. Grey Knights are boss. Like when they touch down on a planet, if anybody sees them, they're dead. They have to kill them because they're that secret.
Oh.
They actually will exterminatus a city on the other side of the planet from where Grey Knights are fighting.
Just to make sure word
Just to-
doesn't get out.
Just to make sure word doesn't get out.
Oh yeah, we're back to the Imperium, the good guys.
Yeah. So anyway, the Grey Knights happen upon this Castigator class Titan, this giant mammoth thing that's been basically ruling this planet that it's on.
Oh.
And it's operating by itself with no driver because it still has intact AI from the dark age of technology.
That's illegal.
It is. It's why they destroyed it. They destroyed it, and they even had an STC that would have allowed them to create Castigator classes, and they destroyed that as well.
They were like, no, we
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah, and
Because-
we don't know how they destroyed it. The only thing in it is it says that the cost of destroying it was significant. Which is just so goddamn Imperium.
I know.
Which means it was probably literally millions of people.
I could imagine, because that is like, we talk about Primarchs being god level.
Yeah, oh
but
yeah.
then something like that's sentient and ruling a planet, you said?
Yeah. By its own
Own will, design.
well, by its own admission, it was ruling that. Like it understood that it was king.
Because this is like true AI
Yes.
in the sense that we,
Yep.
like the Imperium, like
And it is
goes against.
yeah, and it's like
because heresy.
and it's like hundreds of thousands of years old.
Just an ancient, gigantic, like literal man. That's literally like a Titan out of Greek mythology.
It would
That's
be,
what that
yes.
would be like.
Windows 95.
Dun 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 dun. I am awake.
Oh, that would be even worse.
Microsoft Sam.
But in their conversations with the Castigator class Titan, it does in fact say, like, I come from a time that I don't even remember. You guys refer to it as the golden age of technology. Now, where the variation, and I can understand where this might be a little fuzzy, comes in, is that actually might not be the Titan itself. That could be the AI saying the AI was created back during the dark age of technology, not necessarily the Titan itself.
Oh, okay.
Key distinct. So it's a little fuzzy there.
Okay.
I think that it means literally like the Titan, but there's a few times where it refers to the body and then itself
Separately.
kind of separately.
Oh.
So
okay.
it does make it a little fuzzy.
So an AI might have like survived and taken over this.
Castigator class Titan. Yeah. So
Interesting.
so that could be
Okay.
possible. But then in another book we have a Commissar Yarrick
Ooh.
and a Inquisitor are talking, and they're at a planet to take over to knock down some chaos cult. There's been a chaos cult uprising, and so they're there to quarrel this. And this chaos cult actually managed to build a Titan.
Whoa. Okay.
And
how did they know how to? Oh.
so that's the topic of the conversation, and I don't know that they ever get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
But the Inquisitor is kind of ranting and raving about this Titan, and he's like, no STC that we've ever encountered, because it's not a Titan like anything they've ever seen before.
Right.
And so they're like, no STC has ever built a Titan like this. Am I wrong? And Yarrick's like, no, we have no STCs that build this. So there again, we have them talking about STCs and Titans,
Okay.
which means that it has to come from the dark age of technology. Like,
Yeah.
there's no other explanation.
Because they come from that far back.
And I guess one of the arguments that people try to put forth is there was no need for Titans during the golden age of technology, to which I say, orcs were still a thing.
Oh yeah. He's
So-
a big idiot against orcs.
Yeah, like, so no, we're not. I'm not even going to entertain that.
Yeah.
If orcs as they exist in the 40K universe exist in that timeline, there is a need for Titans.
You need something really big with a lot of firepower. Yeah, I'd want a Titan going up against orcs.
And speaking of firepower,
Ooh,
Eric, you got some firepower for us.
I do.
Some of the cool stuff.
some of the cool stuff.
And then we'll get into how they work. Magnets.
Ooh.
How do they work?
Magnets. So I just wrote down some of the cool weapons
Sure.
that I saw. This is by no means a complete list.
Hell no. We don't do
There's way
anything
too many.
40K comprehensive here.
No, there are no.
It's not possible.
Not possible. They're too creative. They come up with too much shit. So I'll just work my way down the list. They have a class of weapons called firestorm weapons, which spout out promethium.
Which is basically their form of napalm, only it's 40K, so it like burns underwater and all this crazy shit.
Yeah. So, giant gouts of napalm.
Shout out to all you salamander fans out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Salamanders are big on promethium.
And of course they have, we have fusion beams. So it's like heated beams, melts armor. It sounds
Sure.
like that's a pretty,
It's a laser.
yeah, it's a laser. They also, this is crazy to me that they use melee weapons,
Yes, they do.
claws and chain swords, just like
So-
Astartes.
The Titan with a melee weapon?
Yes.
Titan with the melee
A
weapon.
power fist or a chain sword or a power sword if they're really fucking old. Can you imagine the chain sword that thing would carry?
It'd be like that giant like mining device they have
It-
in that giant mine with like the big saw that like cuts into that
yeah,
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only it'd be bigger than that.
because so is the same thing going through your guys' mind that went through mine in that like why except for against other Titans, I'm like, when is that going to be necessary?
I was
just
thinking
answered
that too.
Other
It's like,
Titans.
Well,
Yeah.
So, Nids.
Really? Oh,
Hey,
they get big
Tyranids have Titan class. They're called Hierophants.
and they're huge Tyranids.
They're kaiju.
Hierophants. Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure we have a picture up there because that's a more terrifying concept than Titans are to me.
Well, yeah, because the Titans are on our side theoretically.
Theoretically, yes, but we'll get into why I find them scary too. We've touched on it a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, but the word's already escaping me.
Castigator class.
Castigator class, yeah. So, back to our weapons. Some of the more interesting ones. We have the Void Breaker, which disrupts void shields. It doesn't do any other type of damage to
Right,
anything
which
else.
is that multi-layered shield that we were talking about.
Okay, right. And so it's just designed to strip those layers away, it sounds like.
And you guys will see in the artwork, right, that it's actually pretty cool looking. Like, all of these different weapons, like, a battlefield on 40K would be simultaneously very beautiful and large and terrifying because all of these different weapons shoot different beams of light and they cause different, oh boy, I'm exercising my language here, fractal patterns when they hit the void shield. So like you'll see in the pictures and stuff, like it looks just like a rainbow hitting these big giant shields where these fucking things are just marching through.
Where it needs the different frequencies and stuff.
Like Pink Floyd, but with death.
Yes, correct.
Nice.
So it would just look crazy as all fucking shit.
It'd be a hell of a view before you get incinerated or smushed.
That's right.
We also have, speaking of incinerated, Inferno cannons.
Oh yeah.
Which are massive versions of, they're called flamers. Which
is a flamethrower.
Flamethrowers that are mounted on vehicles.
Yep.
I believe. Or
They
might be
make
handheld too, aren't
they have
come in all
hand
sizes.
they have hand flamers, they have heavy flamers, and then they have vehicle flamers. So yeah,
Right.
they have them from pistol all the way up to Titan size.
Yeah. Which that's just okay, that's a little less cruel than the napalm, but not by much. Just a wall of fire. We also have, I loved the name of this, the Turbo Laser Destructor.
Just in case you be like, yeah, we're not fucking around with this one.
What is that?
It is a larger, more powerful las cannon. And a las cannon is like a bolter beam. It's another type of their beam weapons, really, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also I liked this one, a Gatling blaster. They fire 150 millimeter shells. Sounds big.
That's yeah.
Big. I don't know much about my millimeters, but that sounds pretty big.
Let's just say that it's funny.
Fair enough. And it's rapid fire.
Right. Yeah, that's why it's funny.
We also have the Hellstorm cannon.
Now that's one, if you start reading the books and Titans come in, you'll hear that one a lot.
Will you? Okay. And it's another directed energy beam, but it can like level a city.
It can. It's one of those ones like the Titan. It's when a Titan shows up, it starts powering that up, and then the clock starts ticking.
Oh God! It's like get off the board before it fires.
No, bring it down
before it fires. Sorry, my instinct is already to run.
Disrupt that. Disrupt the hell out of it.
Stop it! There's no running. You can't get away from it.
You can't. No.
I just have a couple more here.
Sure, have at them.
Multiple rocket launcher for long range artillery. So
I wonder what that does.
I wonder. Yeah, might shoot a bunch of rockets.
Nah, probably
It
not.
Launches them. Ah, there we go. Yeah, not shoots.
That'd be silly.
There's the
Who ever heard of a rocket shooter?
Rocket shooter.
There's a Quake cannon. Have you anyone heard of a Quake cannon?
I feel like I have, but I for the life of me couldn't tell you.
So they fire Quake shells, which
Did you write down what a Quake shell is?
I did.
Oh, thank God.
So a Quake shell, thank God, Eric. Past Eric did well this time.
Yeah.
The Quake shell uses energy that they collect somehow. It was a process that I didn't read, but a big process.
Probably from their reactors.
The energy of a planet that has been exterminated. So as the planet is blowing up, they somehow take some of that, I imagine, kinetic energy.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to be kinetic.
And contain it. I saw words like arcane in this, so we're going to stretch the bounds of our imagination.
Well, it uses, so that means that they use psychic power to
direct it or contain it or whatever. And then they put that into the shell of the Quake cannon and fire it, and this seems to be another.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Right? I mean, that's what I said when I came across this thing.
God, I love this. That's
that they're on.
They take it from yes, they do. They use it in the battles. It's just a portion of the destructive force of a planet blowing up. So,
It's just
just a little
minor
taste.
planetary collapse,
God, I
just a
love
little
this
bit.
stuff.
Just a couple of
Listen.
continents, probably. I don't know.
There is no fucking kill like overkill. God
I
damn it.
know.
So, as a wise man once said, overkill is a highly underrated phenomenon.
It's effective.
I also wrote down the Vulcan Mega Bolter.
And that's another one that's a
That's pretty
staple. That's a staple.
A staple of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
5 barrels, rotary weapon. Sounds like a pretty massive version of a bolter.
It is.
almost.
It's a bolter.
Yeah.
It's a bolter rifle that has 8 barrels and it
8. Oh, 8.
it has 8 barrels and it shoots so the shells are bigger than a person. So-
Right.
And they're everything that a bolter is. It's explosive. And they have all the different types of rounds that all the different bolters have. So like the shredding rounds or the radioactive rounds or the explosive rounds or all that crazy shit.
Wow. And again, that's not the complete list.
That is
but
not.
That's already, in my opinion, just about as ridiculous as my imagination could handle.
And we can crank it up one more because they actually have Psi Titans.
Oh, yes. You just introduced these to me today.
What is a side?
So the Psi Titan comes from the Ordo Sinister. Ordos are the kind of houses that Titans all kind of rest under. So like Ordo, it just means order, right? It's their way of. It's like everybody falls under the Collegia Titanica. That is the official name that Titans kind of operate under in the Imperium military, right? And the Collegia Titanica dictates everything. Like nobody supersedes them when it comes to Titans, except for like maybe Gilliman now that he's back.
Right.
But even then.
Yeah.
So the Ordo Sinister was created by the Emperor because the first time they showed up was during the Horus Heresy.
Okay.
And people flipped the fuck out. A Psi Titan is operated. First, we better go through how a regular Titan is operated, actually.
Yes.
And then we'll jump on to Psi Titans because they are different.
Okay.
They are slightly different than a regular Titan. So a regular Titan is piloted by a person called a precept. A precept is one of these rare, like 1 in a billion people, right? Who has the innate ability to bond with the machine spirit of the Titan. Now, machine spirit is a topic that we've touched on quite a few times. We'll do it again. It is the ghost in the machine. If you've ever had like a computer that wouldn't operate until you yelled at it and then it worked, in 40K universe, they would say, well, that's because you scared the machine spirit into working.
Uh-huh.
And they would also tell you that that's disrespectful to the machine spirit. You shouldn't do that.
Treat it more nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Treat it nicely.
And
Please rewind.
exactly.
Yes, be kind, please.
And how strong and how sentient that machine spirit is depends on the machine. The bigger, more complicated the machine is, the more sentient seeming, at
least.
Yeah.
The machine spirit.
Well, so seeming is kind of a tough word because Titans will dream.
Yeah.
They'll, especially Warhound Titans are really known for this. They'll be hanging suspended in their ships on the way to a battlefield or whatever, or just in storage. No pilots, no nothing, and they'll twitch and move, and they can detect the waves of them dreaming.
Whoa.
So I would say that it's full on sentient. It just can't full on operate itself.
Okay.
Usually. There have been times where the machine spirit like rages out. Usually if the precept is like killed in battle, like traumatically, the machine, not usually, but it has happened. The machine spirit just wigs out and operates on its own.
Yeah.
Kind of like a horse who decides to kill the people that killed its rider.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
But what happens is you go through these really horrific and grueling trials, shocketh, I'm sure, to be tested to see if you're capable of doing this. And what'll end up happening is they drill all these plugs into you. You kind of look like somebody from the Matrix. They have all those holes in them. And what you do is you go in and you sit in the chair and they plug you in and you meld with the Titan. And you control it through thought. The meld becomes so complete that if it's raining, you will feel the rain on your skin.
Okay.
Because the rain makes it through the void shield.
You and the machine become one.
Yeah. So much, and it can become a real problem, actually. Like,
Okay.
the precepts can start fusing themselves into the machine.
Physically.
Yes, because they become so one with it. They start, because precepts have like final say over modifications, right?
Okay.
So
right.
they can start, like how the Mechanicus adapts itself and gets rid of organic parts and becomes more machine.
Right.
They will start doing that
To them.
to themselves to become one with the machine. And what this eventually leads to is that the body just completely disintegrates. They have to get a new precept.
Oh.
The old precept is now part of the machine spirit.
Whoa. Well, those are some implications, because then you start getting like
then does it have like sort of a AI intelligence at that point?
We don't call it AI. We call them machine spirits, Jerry.
AI a spirit,
Yeah, that's
artificial spirit,
no. Machine spirit.
like a real spirit.
Well, so
like a real human spirit.
So it's kind of a way for the Imperium to get around AI, right? Because to a certain extent, AI is necessary for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we swear they're not hypocrites at all.
Right.
Yes.
But nevertheless, it doesn't happen a whole lot, because for a Titan to lose a precept is pretty rare. Usually if you lose the precept, the Titan's destroyed, right? Like,
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because they have to go through a whole lot of Titan to get to that precept. Usually.
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And finding a new precept is so hard, because they can plug you in, and if you can't dominate the machine spirit, it'll throw you out and fry your brain.
Oh man.
So you could pass every single test, become a precept, and then you have to sit and wait for a Titan to either become made or available. And then your final test is, can you overcome that Titan, the machine spirit?
That'd be a scary moment, like right before you got plugged in.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously. Wow. It reminds me of we talked about him before, Voldemort video.
Yeah.
Where he kind of, when I was doing my research for this, he likes to open up with some scenes.
Yeah.
And it was through the point of view of a precept, and he was remembering the first time that he confronted the Titan, and he said, he says, I knew when I looked into its eyes that this was the one, that I was the one for it. It was the one for me,
Right.
Yeah. Like really. Yeah. So that was just cool to see that perspective of like, he was like walking up to a test, a challenge, and it was meeting his eyes. And I'm like, don't
look at me.
Don't look at me. So I guess I don't actually want a Titan, because they scare the shit out of me. Just even the thought of like, hey, Eric, you might be able to pilot this thing. And it's like, might. Yeah, there's the might there, sir. And the breaking of the mind that might happen if I'm rejected.
Yeah.
Or is likely if I'm rejected.
Yeah.
Boy, but that to me is just such a cool concept. It's like, I feel like I've seen this in fiction elsewhere before, but it's hard to think of where, and probably not.
So Pacific Rim did something like this.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yep. And that might be,
Because the pilots, they link with each other, but they did, if the Titan, or not Titan, if the Jaeger was injured, they felt it.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
there is some of that in Pacific Rim. I'm sure the notion of like melding them becoming one is not unique.
Right. Yeah.
But the level at which they can become interned into it is unique.
Yeah. Well, because going in, I really thought it was more along the lines of like Power Rangers or Gundam, where it's just, you're just hopping in the seat and taking control.
No. There's no like joystick, no nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just a very cool concept to me.
Oh.
Super neat.
And so to jump back to the Psi Titans.
Oh, yes. Oh, no.
So also the precept, it's not just a precept. There's also a crew of usually 5 or 6 other people that are maintaining, make sure all the things are within operating levels, handling the technical aspects of like,
oh, right. Yeah.
Release this pressure, add more lubricant here,
because it still is manned by an entire crew.
It is, but they're usually like 5 or 6 people.
Right. Wow.
They're not a lot.
Wow. Okay.
Except for until you, I was gonna say until you start getting to like Emperor class, then,
right?
Then you start getting to pretty weighty crew.
Yeah.
But like your Warhound, I think have 4.
Wow. Okay. Like a tank crew.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And that's counting the precept.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Wow.
it's a very small crew for a big machine.
I'll be darned.
But the Psi Titan, and they're all operated with plasma drives, like we said. That's what their fuel is, right? They have a plasma arc reactor that basically powers them.
Gotcha.
Not so with Psi Titans. Psi Titans actually have psychers in them. 5 or 6 psychers, I think,
Oh, wow.
that are the core of it, that are plugged in and stimulated, we'll say.
Not tortured.
No,
Definitely
no, that
not
would just be
tortured.
cruel.
That would
But
be
they're,
terribly
and it's
cruel.
they didn't pick to be there. They're not volunteers. But basically, the energy output that they give off when they're tickled, powers the machine and its weapons.
Yep, you were telling me about this earlier. It's very much. It's almost. It's like they took a note out of the Dark Eldar's book.
Yes,
Of like
through pain and suffering, it produces more psychic energy, which functions the Titan.
Jeez. Yeah.
And they have specific powers so a Psi Titan would be crazy to watch, right? Because it lands, it does, but when it fires its weapons, there's no like concussive blast, there's no muzzle flash, there's no projectile. It's firing like waves of psychic energy. So you would just see it standing there, and then you would just watch waves of thousands of people in front of it just get obliterated.
Jeez.
Okay.
It can do things like give off waves of fear that drive people like insane. All the way up to it can create a warp in time around itself and rewind damage.
Oh, that's helping.
Yeah. See, that's not fair. That's not fair. It's like we went through all of this shit to put a ding in this thing, and it's just like, oh nope, patched back together, no problem.
It can
God.
it can fire a hole in reality like into the warp kind of, and just suck everything into it. But they are incredibly rare.
Thank goodness.
They don't know how many there are. So a legion, the largest legion of Titans has 200 Titans available to it. That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, I mean, but when you think of 40K, right?
The kind of scale we're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the other armies, that is pretty small.
Right. Yeah, they're usually in the thousands, millions.
But it's generally accepted that somewhere in the neighborhood of like 100 Titans can crack a planet just by firing while being there, right? The level of trauma that it causes. So 200 Titans would actually just be actually pointless.
There might not. Yeah, really. Like there probably won't be much planet left if you were to have all those things going at once on a planet.
Yeah. And
200 of them.
they're so large, the Emperor class Titans can actually cause like atmospheric disruption. So like
Whoa.
rain, storms, lightning, clouds.
Like scraping like the ozone as
Yeah.
they're walking and stuff.
And
Oh my
also
gosh.
like that iron and the energy that they put out when they fire their weapons, that electrical pulse just changes the ions and shit in the air.
Oh man. It starts storms developing and stuff like that. I never thought about that.
Yep.
Just once you start getting to that scale, they're like, oh yeah, no, these things fuck up the weather too.
Yeah, there are. I mean, like in 40K, you deal with spaceships that have their gravitational pull, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Stuff could fall into orbit around them.
You know, one of the things that I found particularly interesting about Titans is their status in the 40K universe, because they're known as god machines.
Yes.
They're worshipped. Like by the Mechanicus, losing a Titan is like losing a god from their pantheon. But most of your average Imperial citizen and Imperial soldier don't know they exist in the slightest.
That was pretty interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Yes. Just that. And if they did hear anything about him, it was just like, it was a myth or,
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, pal,
yeah,
whatever.
Sure.
Why is that?
So simply because there's not enough Titans to be everywhere, so people just don't see them. And the Imperium is just so large.
Yeah. The Imperial Guard is so big and already just, I think, kind of as a general rule, pretty uninformed
Right.
in the ranks.
So like your average Imperial Guardsman is somebody that came from a planet that's like medieval and then was given a few days of boot camp and thrown into the front lines. And that's it. That's all. Their first time ever being off planet is to go fight a war.
Yeah.
So like they'll be in the middle, and the way it's been described and the way I've seen it is like the battles get so fucking chaotic because for a Titan to be there, it has to be a massive fight of epic proportions, right? It can't be no little bitch fight.
Yeah.
That the battles are just so fucking crazy that the guard can fight alongside Titans and have no fucking idea unless they look up at the right time and see them fighting.
Oh, that would kind of make sense, just because they'd be so
Just in the fog of war, all
so
the
big,
explosions.
like,
Yeah.
it'd be like, it's just like a mountain right beside. You. It's like
Right.
weirdly metal, but that's all right.
It's weirdly
What-
metal.
Well, and not to mention some battlefields have like hundreds of thousands of combatants, and so it's just like this. Like we think of a battle like from World War I that had like 10,000, 20,000 people. That's like a huge.
Right.
We're talking like hundreds of thousands,
Yeah.
and so I can't even imagine the noise.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe that you, even an Emperor class Titan, you wouldn't feel it walking up on you as any more different than just your average rattle.
Just the explosions and the earth shaking around you anyway from everything else going on. All
Right.
that smoke and smog or even clouds kind of obscuring it.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Man, I'll tell you what, these guys have the artwork is probably, I've seen a lot of it obviously, but is probably just so consistently amazing because of the kind of scales that we're talking at. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. Jerry, did you look at any of the artwork for the
I
Titans?
did, yeah. And
What do you
They're-
think?
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, it's very cool. Like, each one had their own like personality too. Like,
Yeah.
like they had different
Yeah.
paint jobs and stuff and structures.
Yeah, that's the pretty neat thing too, is like a lot of them do have, like you said, a lot of personality to them, like in different looks and stuff like that. And if they're worshipped as kind of a pantheon, I'll bet I'll bet they are looked at as a pantheon in a lot of
yeah.
cases.
Yeah,
you know?
they all have
Yeah.
names. They all have specific names and titles.
Yeah.
I'm on The Betrayer, which is a World Eater's Horus Heresy book.
Ooh.
And it's got a few Titans in it. And it has one instance with a Titan, which I'll save for probably the end because it's the coolest story with Titans that I have. I told
Okay.
Eric this one earlier.
Oh, okay.
But they have some Chaos Titans, like the Corrupted Titans. And it's crazy. Like it corrupts their machine spirit too. So it's like having a Titan run by a demon.
Oh man, that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I remember going, wait, hold on. Oh no, Chaos has Titans.
Oh yeah.
That's bad.
And as revered as they are, that would be like a huge loss to the.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I do wonder if anybody knows, let us know. But I would be very interested in reading some excerpts from the Mechanicus talking about Chaos Titans.
Oh,
I bet that's a sacrilege beyond.
that would be that would be beyond a tragedy to them. You're absolutely right. Like you're like one of your gods getting corrupted and turning evil and even being turned against you. That's some pretty tragic stuff.
But I can tell you how other Titan precepts viewed it.
Oh, okay.
They went like when they saw Traitor Titans for like the first time, they like went psychotic angry.
Oh, flew into a rage over
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. Like all of them were like traitors, heretics, blah blah blah. But the precepts and the Titan crews, when they saw Traitor Titans, just like wigged the fuck out.
Did they want to like destroy it?
Yeah, they just straight up like a lot of it actually ended up costing the loyalists a lot of Titans in the beginning because they just threw themselves at them.
Ooh.
They were like, this will not stand.
Correct.
Yeah. What is this heresy?
And the thing is it takes them a minute to power up their shields. The Traitor Titans had already,
they were already
they
powered
knew
up.
it was coming, so they were powered up and fully weaponized.
Oh, yeah. They had the advantage.
But they'd rush in without their shields being all the way ready.
Yeah, oh yeah. Just to get a piece of,
Man.
just to get a piece of them.
Wow. And I'm kind of feeling that too, like just that view of like the audacity.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
yeah.
was. They were offended,
Yeah.
and
Jeez.
not today's version. Like
Like
willing to throw yourself to death at somebody because you're offended at what they're doing.
like they probably knew still that it's like the shields aren't up. They probably knew what kind of risk to their own lives and their own Titan that they were doing by.
Well, I mean, even the machine spirit was just like,
Oh,
fuck you, and just yeah.
because they do have their own like personalities to them
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Man. Yeah, and I get it. A Chaos Titan would be a pretty major affront to nature.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Well,
fine.
nature.
Yeah.
They are nature, actually.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Oh yeah.
Fair point.
They are.
Yep. We're all so uncomfortable with just like there's no good in Warhammer.
Yes, there is. There is. You put the trust in individuals.
Yeah.
Vulcan, Sanguinius, these are men you can trust. Even Lehman Russ. Lehman Russ is a
Oh
hero.
yeah. Definitely.
He doesn't. The Space Wolves definitely value human life.
I would stand behind them.
Yeah, behind.
Well
them,
behind.
Well
Yes,
behind.
yes.
Them. There are some.
Way back there.
There are some. There are Astartes that I would definitely classify as heroes.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're not brutal, but
Right.
they're heroes.
This is true. I'll tell you before we move on, going back to the Psyker Titans.
The Ordo Sinister.
The Ordo Sinister. What a good name for them, because
I know.
it creeps. When we were talking about them, I just got this really like chilled feeling of that.
I know.
Just-
It's the fact that they're like in silence,
Yeah.
and you'll see the picture of them right here. They're in all black, like they're black painted with like red and blue runes. Their faces don't look like regular Titans. It's just like a
Right.
fish bowl.
Yeah.
They look mean as fuck.
And then to just see like if you just had like some sort of view looking out over the field this thing was on, and it's just standing still, and mass crowds of people are like suddenly scattering in madness or just dropping dead or just exploding from just
It almost looks nautical. Like
Yeah. Like a
That's a good way
like
of
a
putting it.
diver's bell.
yeah, that is nautical. That is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
In such a creepy way to me. Like just knowing about it's just that's such an eerie scene. I want to find some fiction that just depicts that thing on a battlefield. It would be so eerie.
it has a head but not a face.
Right. It's blank.
I can't empathize with this thing, and
Yeah, I can't see anything in its eyes. Like,
Yeah.
is it angry? Is it afraid? Does it feel anything at all about the millions of people it's slaughtering? Sorry. Oh God. Okay, let's move on now. Get me out of here.
So we're gonna go ahead and bring this to a close. We'll obviously, if people show enough interest in Titans, we'll definitely revisit and get into some of the different
Yes.
specific types, classes.
Yes, because
things
there's
like
a
that.
lot of different types. We saw the variety of weapons, and I'm sure that there's a lot of really cool history that we can get into too.
There is, and I will provide a little nugget, a story that about a Titan that I just got done reading, and it was a really cool moment. It's during the Horus Heresy, of course, because that's where I rest. Angron, Primarch of the World Eaters, and Logar, Primarch of the Word Bearers, were fighting the Ultramarines. Don't ask me what planet it was. It wasn't Calth and it wasn't Macragge, so nobody else remembers.
A lot of planets out there.
A lot of planets. When Angron gets buried, like 200 meters down in the middle of a battle, like underground, just gets like pummeled into the dirt. And Logar, I'm shortening it up just for the sake of sanity, but Logar actually like teleports down onto the planet to dig him out and gets both barrels of a plasma cannon. Just like fries the ever living fuck out of him. And had it not been, I think, for the ruinous powers protecting him, he would have died right then and there.
Yeah, because plasma cannon.
Because even Angron was like, "You are lucky to be alive." And if Angron, like, Logar is nowhere near as tough as Angron, so he should have died. But anyway, Logar is standing there or laying there just like almost dead as fuck when the Warhound Titan decides to step on him.
oh,
And out of the ground bursts Angron, who proceeds to put himself between Logar and the foot of this Titan and holds up the Titan as the Warhound is trying to crush them and holds it there. Not without effort. He wasn't like, haha, I can do this all day. He was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And was the whole time, the whole time he's holding it, he's like yelling at Logar to move.
he's like extra crispy. Like,
And it was a cool moment because they're both brothers, they're both Primarchs. Angron has the butcher's nails in him, which just is a machine that stimulates the anger and pain centers of the brain so that you're always angry and you feel pain unless you are angry. You have him, and then you have Logar, the Primarch of the Word Bearers, who is generally considered to be the slimiest of the slime, right? Like the Word Bearers are the ones that started the whole thing, and Logar's their daddy, so he gets to eat all that shit that they shoveled.
Yeah. And he's a conniver.
He's a conniver and a bit of a bitch. If it wasn't for my man Conrad, he would have been killed by Corvus. But anyway, it's a cool moment because you have the two arguably worst of the bad guys. Not Horus. It's the Horus heresy, but
Yeah.
Horus.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get to him at some point. But you have the two baddest of the bad guys, and they're put in this position where they're two brothers just trying to protect each other. And so you have this heroic moment of Angron holding up this Titan to save his brother, to keep him from being crushed. And it's like, these guys are the two bad guys.
He just pulled him out of the ground, and now he's got to stop this thing from smishing him. No.
So there are really there's also another story I can if we do another episode about a couple of Night Lords, not Primarchs, just straight up Space Marines who have to take down a Titan with no vehicles. They just have to do it on foot. It was pretty cool how they did it.
You telling me about that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool how they did it. So there's plenty of Titan stuff to do, plenty of Titan things to go. We just wanted to touch on them and see what everybody thought. So we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah. Any what was your impression of the Titans?
Yeah,
overall?
Jerry, what do you think?
I thought they were pretty cool robots.
Pretty cool robots.
Pretty cool robots.
So we're gonna wrap up here until next time. What are we covering? Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah. I'm so excited. It's a Primarch. I'm not gonna tell you who, but it's a Primarch. That always makes me excited. Primarchs are my favorite. Just the Horus Heresy. Warhammer 30K is I love 40K. I love the Tyranids. I love the setup they've got with the Imperium being split in half, Gilliman coming back. There's rumor Angron's coming back. That's gonna be dope as shit. There's rumors of apparently a guy who had made a bunch of predictions. We'll call them prophecies. Made some prophecies about things that are going to be coming out in the future. Claims that a loyalist Primarch is coming back soon. Another one besides Gilliman. Because we have 3 traitor Primarchs. When Angron comes back, there will be 3 traitor Primarchs out and 1 loyalist. So now it's looking like another loyalist will return. They've set it up to where it could either be the Lion or Lehman Russ.
Ooh, okay. I hope it's Lehman.
He said that it would be Lehman.
Ooh, yes, I hope he's right.
And all of his predictions have been right thus far.
Oh, cool. I hope he's right and it's Lehman.
The Lion would make more sense for the Imperium, but like nobody wants the Lion. Nobody likes him.
He's such a stuck-up, arrogant prick.
He is. People like the Dark Angels, but not a lot of people like the Lion.
He's haughty.
Yeah.
He's a haughty one.
He is. But anyway, the next episode will in fact be a Primarch. I'll be fair and say that it is a traitor. We did a loyalist last time. We did Lehman of the Russ, so we will be doing a traitor this time. Yeah. But it will be a Primarch, which just gives me all warm and fuzzy on the inside.
I know you've been waiting to get back to it.
If it were up to me, I would just straight pound. Never mind, I'm not finishing that sentence. But there would be a lot more Primarchs in here if I had my way, but it can't be just for me. Anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap that up. And with that, I'm Ben.
I'm Eric.
I'm Jerry.
Hey, he got it right this time.
I'm not wet this time.
Not wet. That's good.
Is it?
I prefer it.
I also prefer it.
I'm undecided. But anyway, we will see you all again next Thursday, actually. Yeah. Not next Thursday.
But the one after.
The one after next Thursday. And so make sure you join us on all of the things.
Yeah. The YouTubes, the Spotify. You can find us on all of our, on basically wherever you can find a podcast. We'll be there.
Yeah, but for the full experience, you have to do YouTube because we have pictures and visuals.
Yes.
And also, Cult of Lore is going to be having a lot more stuff on the fictional end.
Ooh.
That's going to require you guys to look as well as listen. So if you're listening to us on other podcasts, make sure you head over to YouTube as well, because there's going to be a need for that YouTube channel. And while you're there, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn the bell notifications onto all, because personalized is a motherfucker. And give us a thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't, because it all does the same shit, so we really don't fucking care. Because YouTube doesn't understand.
YouTube is just like, yeah, interaction.
and you're
good.
like,
You were
you're,
here. We don't care.
yeah. So they're funny like that.
Give us the hours of your life.
Correct. And that's actually what we're begging for. So give it to
Yes,
us.
please do. And we have always appreciated it,
Absolutely.
and we'll continue to do so.
We appreciate everybody who watches, listens, and works on our podcast.
Yes.
So with that, see you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.